Hi Taurus, this is your 2019 year ahead reading. So what we are going to do with this reading is we are going to break the year down into the 4 quarters, and we'll take a look at what the cards have to say about those individual time periods, and also look at it together as an entire picture. Something a little different is that I'll be using this standard deck of playing cards, the B playing cards, and we'll also bring in some clarifiers from the Universal Weight Tarot deck by US Games, of course illustrated by Pamela Coleman Smith, but that is the deck that is recolored by Mary Hanson Roberts. Now, I have been shuffling the cards for a while, but I'm going to continue to do so until I feel that they are ready for a cut. And I think we're good to go. All right, Taurus, let's take a look at what we have for you for the year 2019, starting with the first quarter. It's the 5 of Spades, followed by the 3 of Hearts, and the King of Diamonds. For the second quarter, 3 of Clubs, Queen of Hearts, and 9 of Spades. Starting the third quarter, we have the 5 of Diamonds, the 6 of Clubs, and the Queen of Spades. And for the last quarter, Jack of Diamonds, the Joker, and the 2 of Clubs. Well, Taurus, this reading will only pertain, of course, to some folks that happen upon this reading. And so if this particular message doesn't come through, I encourage you to look at one of the other signs, or perhaps your monthly reading. I have to say though, and you know, if you've been watching my readings for a while, you know that I actually don't touch on relationship, romance type readings very often. I really only do so when it very clearly comes up in the cards. And so for some folks, what's immediately showing here, at least for the first quarter, is some type of change, potentially a quite drastic change that has to do with relationships. For some of you, it is possible that you just feel that you need to make a new start. I'm picking up almost the sense like an entire new social group or new set of friends might be what you are longing for, or might be what's coming up into the picture, but also in terms of playing cards and reading these sorts of cards, it's possible for some folks that there is going to be perhaps 3 people involved in a relationship where there perhaps should be only 2, if I could put it that way. So too many folks involved in this relationship, one too many. Okay, so I'm sorry to say that, but I know very well that if I start over again, I'm going to pick up a similar theme, and but that's what's appearing. And for the second quarter, the theme is continuing to run through. I see this as more of a longer term scenario. I think that change is going to come about at some point, but that it may not be instantaneous. There's a process involved. And again, I just want to point out we have 2 3s and 2 5s here. So this is why I am picking up this idea so strongly about and I'll just pick these up here, although I'm sure you can clearly see them, but just to make the point that we have a social situation that is perhaps involving some sort of a triangle, and it could be a romantic relationship with the 3 of Hearts here. It's also possible, though, being a general reading, that this could involve some sort of a business situation that is possible, or a work relationship where it feels like there's perhaps one person is creating some problems with a partnership that you have with another person. That is certainly possible as well. And I want to say that I feel like the parties involved here do not mean any harm. If you are in this kind of situation where there's some sort of disagreements going on between folks, and it does not seem, the word I'm hearing is malicious, okay? It's not about that. It's just the situation that folks have found themselves in. And by the end of the second quarter, it's possible that you will see that things have changed in such a way that there really isn't a way to turn the page and go back. It's almost like an irrevocable change that occurs within this relationship. By the third quarter, this situation can have an impact on your finances, and you can realize by this point, and this is actually, I think, an important point for this reading, is that by the third quarter, if this has been going on for an entire year, there can be a realization that you need to be thinking about and planning for and watching out for your own finances, and how you are going to establish yourself in it. Perhaps it might be a new line of work. That's very possible. You may find that you have to get into a new line of work. Now, this can involve either, as I said, if there's a situation going on in the current work world where, you know, people are not getting along, then you may find I need to look out for myself and find some more permanent, stable type of work. If it involves a one-on-one relationship and we're looking at, maybe there is another person that has become involved, a third person that is creating problems, then this is also a time where you might be thinking about, I really need to figure out how I'm going to establish myself in the work world if things are changing for me. And what I want to say, Taurus, and I realize very clearly that this is only going to resonate with a few folks. I certainly actually hope that we want our readings to resonate to everybody. And this is a general reading, but my sense is that this is quite specific. And so for those of you that are picking up on this, and I mean, you will know already by now, I believe, if this is occurring already, what I want to say and what I'm picking up is that I think it would be advantageous to be thinking about how you're going to build a more solid foundation for yourself in your either career life or work life or financially, even starting now. Now, this is a general statement. I'm going to just bring in a little bit of astrology regarding this, and this is very hopeful, and so that's why I want to bring it in, because there is some very, very positive astrology going on for Taurus that has to do with Saturn and Pluto being conjunct in Capricorn. This is a very big conjunction going on in the fellow Earth sign. It's a rare conjunction. It doesn't happen very often, of course, with Saturn taking almost 30 years, right, to travel around that full zodiac. But my point is this: that transit signifies very big change in some area of life. You might look for Capricorn in your natal chart. The good news is that whatever planets you have in Taurus, whether it's your sun, your moon, your rising sign, those planetary or personal points in Taurus that you have are trining Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, where potentially a lot of change will be occurring. The trine suggests to me, Taurus, that you are definitely going to have the strength to get through this change. And moreover, over the course of the year, as your ruling planet travels around the entire zodiac and makes aspects to Saturn and Pluto, you are going to be able to build a very strong foundation for yourself. It might feel during certain times of the year that things are changing and falling apart somewhat, let me say. But what can be happening, let me put it that way, is that things can be changing or breaking down somewhat, and yet as this happens, at the same time, you have the opportunity to put a very strong new foundation in place. And for many Taurus folks, or at least for the Taurus folks that are resonating with this reading, I feel that this new foundation is going to have to do with work, and that you're going to be able to really pour yourself into it. Still, I feel like overall that this is a big change. It's a monumental change. It's not a small one. And so it's understandable that you might move forward, even by the end of the year, having some doubts about what direction you're going. It's not a completely settled situation. You might have actually a pretty big decision to make. I'm hearing the word crapshoot also, like it's almost just like it can feel like that, like this is just a crapshoot. Which way do I go? This way or that way? I'm very happy to see the Joker here in this in the final quarter, because what I'm picking up from this is that even though I think towards the end of the year it's going to feel like quite a dilemma for you, that there's going to be a beautiful surprise at the end of the year. That surprise actually might create a bigger decision for you. But my feeling is that it's a good thing and it's positive to have. Let me put it this way. It's better to have a choice about which way you're going to go than to have no choice at all. That's the way I want to put this. And so I'm asking for cards, clarifiers, from the tarot deck now, and we'll be interested to see if the same theme comes through. Taurus, you know, this is kind of interesting to see too, because your previous readings have really so strongly suggested that a new partnership is coming into the picture for you. That is what we have been seeing for several months now. And so I want to pick up on that and share this idea with you. It's possible for some folks that if there is a drastic or a sudden change in a relationship based on some kind of a triangle situation, and you feel that a relationship has to come to an end, this is what can open up a new pathway for something better in life. We have the Knight of Swords, which would be in the same suit as that king. The Knight of Swords for the first quarter, and the Eight of Pentacles for the second quarter. I'm going to continue the shuffle now, asking for clarifiers. Now, I know that a lot of folks, or some folks anyway, based on the comments, I know that folks like to make their own interpretations of the cards as they're coming out. And so as I'm pulling these, as I am pulling out these tarot cards, you might think about how those cards might relate. I really feel, Taurus, that you, if you think about these cards, know much better, even than I do, what the meaning is. The Moon, and actually the second card is right here, and the Five of Swords. Well, we're going to keep those two cards that just flipped out, the Nine of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. Now I'm asking for two more clarifiers for Taurus. Two, and one just popped out, the Wheel of Fortune. Followed by the King of Wands. All right, Taurus, let's take a look at these tarot cards to see what meaning we can glean from this in terms of clarification, thinking about the reading overall. And we're going to start with the Knight of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles. Well, I feel like in the first quarter, Taurus, with this Knight of Swords, I'm getting a sense that the change that is going to come about in the first quarter is going to be very, very swift. There's a possibility that some folks will feel like they want to sort of lash out or retaliate even based on this change that is coming about. I want to see, though, what's really sticking out to me is the Eight of Pentacles. And the reason why that is standing out to me is I'm picking up a strong advice message here, which is that if this reading is resonating with you in any way, that you can begin even now to start thinking about how versatile you are in terms of your ability to work and bring resources into yourself. How versatile you are in terms of being able to live independently, I want to say. Now, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing a brand new start, like a strong independent streak here in the reading. But what I am seeing is the need coming up later in the year for relying upon your work experience and being able to be versatile and decide where you actually want to establish yourself. With the Moon and the Five of Swords, it seems like in the second quarter that the entire situation with these folks and the result that comes about is just, I have to say, it's disappointing. And there's a possibility that some folks were not honest, that are completely upfront with you. I think that if you are seeing that there is going to be a change ahead, and you can sense it, it's in the air, or it has already started, that you can feel sort of a sense of uncertainty in the second quarter around you. So even more, the idea of sort of taking stock of all of your strengths, because you have many. And by the third quarter, we can see that really coming about. I think that there is going to be some sort of new work involved or new job involved in order to maintain your independence. And well, here actually we do see some independence coming through with that Knight of Pentacles, I have to say. And you know, Taurus, in the past we have gotten this Knight of Pentacles in your readings, and it has always signified your tremendous strength as a person. There really isn't anyone really stronger in the zodiac, right, than Taurus in terms of stick-to-itiveness. You have the ability, when you decide what you want to do and the path that you want to take and how you're going to approach and handle a situation, to see it through. I feel like by the third quarter, you're just going to feel a lot more strength around this entire situation. Now, the Jack of Diamonds can represent some, potentially, again, the indecision, especially along with the Two of Clubs. And then with the Joker, there's that sort of sense of the crapshoot, right? Like, exactly how is this all going to work out? And the surprise. Well, the Wheel of Fortune is really consistent with that, isn't it? Because it's almost like a spin of the wheel. We don't know exactly how this is all going to turn out. But there's something else pictured here, which is interesting and I think important. You know, the fixed signs are illustrated in this card. Here you are, right here, Taurus. Here's Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. And if you look, you'll notice that they are working very hard. They're studying. They have been working all along. I feel, Taurus, that this really, again, represents you and your strengths and your versatility and ability to take care of yourself as an individual. This is not to say that a partnership isn't also preferable, but what I'm saying is that in regards to this reading, what I am seeing is that you are coming out on top, and that you will be in your strength. Even if there is some indecision or uncertainty around this situation over the course of the year, I see you coming out absolutely on top. So, Taurus, overall, I think the reading in terms of this really is involving relationships, some form of relationship, and the sense that perhaps there was a partnership and somebody else got involved, or another group got involved. It could involve groups as well, especially if this is just solely work related. And that the sense of partnership that had been in place, it no longer has the same strength. And so, taking all this in mind, it seems that there might be the need for a change in terms of how you will bring wealth into yourself, how you will work in the world and support yourself as an individual. But I see this as actually very, very positive despite the indecision, because you do, I want to say, almost realize how strong you really are. And let's also keep in mind that there's the potential of this opening up a new avenue for future social contacts that can be more positive. And then finally, I just want to reiterate, getting the Joker in the end of the spread suggests that there will be a very fortunate, let's say, surprise coming up, even if it does put you in a situation of having to make a decision. I think that it's going to be a good decision to make, and again, it's better to have a choice than no choice at all. All right, Taurus. Well, that is your year ahead reading for 2019. I want to thank you so much for being here, for watching, and for listening. And I'll see you next time.